It has been a very good week or two for the University of Phoenix. The University of Phoenix is the largest not-for-profit university in the United States. University of Phoenix students owe more in student debt than any other institution of higher education in America. They enroll at this university, which is largely online but has some classroom experience. They sign up for higher tuition than they would at community colleges or most universities. And when they can't finish and drop out, they still have a debt, or when they finish, they may have a diploma that can't find a job. The University of Phoenix, this private for-profit company, receives nearly $3 billion a year in federal student aid funding. But the quality of education from this for-profit school is suspect. The for-profit college and university industry is the most heavily subsidized profit business in America. We've seen a lot of warning signs about the University of Phoenix. We noted that they were targeting the military and veterans. Paul Rykoff, with the Iraq and Afghanistan Veterans of America, said that the University of Phoenix, quote, is constantly reported as the single worst by far, close quote, when it comes to for-profit colleges taking advantage of veterans. Well, it's caught up with them. The University of Phoenix, a few weeks ago, was placed on probation by the Department of Defense, restricting the company from enrolling new service members who use the department's tuition assistance or spousal MICA programs. The department found violations by the company, the University of Phoenix, after completing a review prompted by an investigative report from the Investigative Reporting Center. The article that started this investigation exposed the University of Phoenix's strategy to flaunt Department of Defense rules, including an executive order meant to protect our service members, men and women in uniform and their spouses, from aggressive and unfair recruiting by for-profit colleges. You see, if these for-profit colleges can sign up a member of the military or their spouse, they can bring in the money that's set aside in the GI Bill for education and training to their benefit. And so they want to sign up as many members of the military and their families as they can. The University of Phoenix avoided the rules set down by the Department of Defense and went instead sponsoring events at military bases. Not just a few, but a lot. In one instance, they paid $25,000 to sponsor a concert for military members and their families. $25,000 for a concert? The company gave away computers and wrapped the stage in a giant University of Phoenix banner. They used official Department of Defense seals and logos on challenge coins given out to service members in order to show that they had some kind of close relationship with the military. In other instances, found by the Center for Investigative Reporting, the University of Phoenix sponsored resume workshops, which essentially amounted to recruiting members of the military and their family to sign up for this for-profit college. According to the article, the company sponsored hundreds of events on military bases, rock concerts, Super Bowl parties, father-daughter dances, Easter egg hunts, chocolate festivals, fashion shows, and even brunch with Santa. The University of Phoenix spent $250,000 to sponsor events over the last 3 years at one place, Fort Campbell, Kentucky. Let's face it, these were recruitment events for the University of Phoenix, and they were paid for, by and large, with taxpayers' dollars. In the name of corporate sponsorship, the University of Phoenix could gain direct access to military bases with a nod and a wink of service members. They told them they cared about the military. They also cared about the fact that they had potential students who would sign up and spend their GI Bills through the University of Phoenix. It paid off for them. The University of Phoenix is the fourth largest recipient of Department of Defense tuition assistance funds. In FY14, the University of Phoenix received more than $20 million from these benefits. It's not surprising the company would be so concerned about the decision by the Department of Defense to put them on probation. It means they're going to lose access to millions of dollars from these military families. And it was reflected when their stock went down in value. Since the Department of Defense took action against the company, University of Phoenix stock value has plummeted nearly 50%. In its decision, the Department of Defense cited concerns related to ongoing investigations of this same University of Phoenix by the Federal Trade Commission and the Attorney General of the state of California. In fact, there are two ongoing investigations of the University of Phoenix by the Federal Trade Commission, one related to deceptive marketing and advertising, and a second related to safeguarding student and staff personal information. The Attorney General in California, as at least two other states, are also investigating the company. The United States Securities and Exchange Commission and the Department of Education Inspector General also have ongoing investigations of the University of Phoenix. The Department of Defense is not alone. Many agencies, federal and state, are investigating this major for-profit university. They do have some friends, though, and one of them is the Wall Street Journal. Last week, on the same day an editorial of similar tone appeared in the Wall Street Journal, a few of my colleagues in the Senate sent a letter to the Secretary of Defense, Ash Carter, telling them to lay off the University of Phoenix, despite the fact that the department noted the violations were of such frequency and such scope that they were, quote, disconcerting, close quote. My colleagues in the Senate think the Department of Defense's decision to protect service members and to put this university under probation was, quote, unfair. There's no question that the Department of Defense has a duty and a responsibility to protect members of the military and their families from exploitation. They've established rules under the Voluntary Military Education Program. And now my colleagues in the Senate are writing letters to the Department of Defense saying, look the other way. The letter they sent criticized the department for its concern over the University of Phoenix's continued participation in voluntary military education programs in light of the ongoing investigation. I think it would be grossly irresponsible for the Department of Defense to back off of this protection of our military because of a letter from members of the Senate. The broad and ongoing regulatory scrutiny of the University of Phoenix gives the Department of Defense legitimate cause for concern when it comes to the company's future participation in the voluntary military education program. My colleagues in their letter said, quote, the TA program is critical to our nation's service members' educational and career opportunities. I couldn't agree more. But that's exactly why the Department of Defense should ignore the demand of my Senate colleagues, and exactly why they should not turn a blind eye to the University of Phoenix's violations. In order to provide quality educational options for service members and to ensure that taxpayer dollars are not being wasted, we must promote integrity in the program, and the highest priority should not be the profitability of a for-profit university like the University of Phoenix. The highest priority is quality education and training for our members of the military. I want to thank the Department of Defense for taking this bold action and encourage them to remain steadfast in protecting students, military members, their families, and taxpayers when it comes to future decisions related to the University of Phoenix's participation in the voluntary military education program.